Hello, everyone, and welcome back to this week's Power Rankings. It's been a busy week. Some movement in the rankings, mostly in the middle. A lot, big week happening. We only got 5 weeks left in the regular season. It is getting down to crunch time in the year. And yeah, everyone's close. Everyone still's got a shot at the playoffs. We got rebuilders that are in the playoff picture. So trade deadline's coming up, I think 2 or 3 weeks. So it's busy. Important time in the league. Make sure to be active, send trades to Tommy, all that stuff. Pablo's in here this week. He is suspended following some ill-advised jokes last week. It was all fun and games. I was having a good time until he decided to pull his eyes back, make an accent. I was like, hey, buddy, maybe too far. He didn't think so. He's suspended for the week, but that's all right. He'll be back next week. But so you got me, your host, the one I know you guys all like the best. So we'll get it started off. We'll start with the winners video of this week. We have Officer TC Jacoby. He put up 170, dominated the league. He's bringing back his smack talk, and here's what he has to say.
So I wanted to give this message in the classic Julio Jones Atlanta jersey because this is in honor of Cordell Patterson, who came back this week and dominated. My team decided to repay him for his comeback by dominating. That's why we're the highest scored team this week in fantasy. And you know what? I just got to say, you like that?
So that's Jacoby, confident as always. Definitely going to be a force to be reckoned with in this league. And if he wins, he's going to be shit talking. But next, we've got what's becoming a weekly segment here on the Power Rankings. It's the low score video by Dinkelberg. Not the Dinkelberg of the week. That is the award for a player. But we have Dinkelberg coming up. Let's see how depressed he is this week. See if he's descending into even more madness. Let's see. Here he is.
Just another week of making lowest points, another loss, another foot in the grave of retirement.
Dinkelberg's video, he looked less depressed this week, more just defeated in general. I mean, he seems to be better at. He's lost so much in the last couple of years. He seems to be embracing it a little more. But at this point, you got to root for the guy. Hope he gets lucky one week in the toilet bowl because it'd be tough doing the punishment 2 years in a row. It's not fun. And yeah, hopefully we get stand-up from Tommy or Pablo. That I think would be the gold we're looking for. So next, we'll move on to our awards for the week, starting with the most shocking. We have, starting off with 2 votes from Pablo and our mystery voter. We have Jacoby as the most shocking. This is pretty obvious answer. Put up 170, kind of re-solidified himself as a playoff force in this league. Really good week from basically his whole team. Definitely pretty shocking, but very good performance for him. And then my vote was for Pablo. He knocked off M-Tom this week. He scored 123, ended up, now he's in 8th seed in the playoff picture, even though he's been trying to tank. So who knows, maybe he becomes a buyer near the deadline, but good week from him, scored 125 or something, higher point total from the week or out of the teams for the week. And then we're going to move on to our most disappointing of this week. We'll start with Pablo's vote. He voted for Ethan. Ethan had a pretty disappointing loss this week. He kind of got railroaded by Stevie J, but even though he got it was a tough loss for him. He still scored a decent amount of points, but becomes a 2-loss team, loses that number 1 seed, is a little bit behind, which isn't great for. A little bit behind Andres, which isn't great for him. He'd love that number 1 seed, get someone scrubby in the first round of the playoffs, but Ethan, rough week for him. But then me and the mystery voter, we had a combined, or we both voted for M. Gurns this week. He scored 80 and lost by like half a point in the low scoring matchup of the week. It was pretty tough for him. Now he's a 3-loss team. it's a pretty ugly loss, but sometimes whenever you have a bye week as crazy as this one, you just got to take a loss like that and move on. The Elijah Moore downfall has not been good for him. All he needed was Elijah Moore to have one catch and didn't even have a target. So that was great for him. And then we'll move on to our stud of the week. This week we have a unanimous stud. His name is Joe Mixon, one of the best fantasy performances there is. He had 5 touchdowns, a lot of yards, very good week for him. Scored 54, I think, which the only player to score more than him this week, I think, was Justin Fields. So very good week for him, and definitely the stud of the week. And then we move on to the Dinkle Dud of the week. We have 2 votes for Donta Foreman. He's on Ethan's team, and Donta Foreman, especially in a week with no Chuba Hubbard, it's tough. He only scored 3 points. The backup to him scored more than him, had a better week than him. So it wasn't a great week, kind of just another bad week for a player on Ethan's team, who's Ethan definitely hoping to get some production out of him. But it's looking like with Chuba coming back and other things, it's not going to be great. And then my vote was for Justin Herbert. This from my team. I had a pretty crucial week this week, kind of almost season defining, very thin margins for me to end the year now that I'm 3-6. But Justin Herbert, bad week. He has no weapons. Everyone's injured. Only scored 15. Needed a good 30 something from him to even have a chance this week, and he just couldn't put it up for me. And then finally, our last award, we'll move on to the Clutch Player of the Week. This week we have 3 different votes from each of our voters. I'll start off with Pablo's vote. I'm going to butcher the name pretty bad, but he is Isaiah Pacheco. We'll go with that. And Isaiah Pacheco, he won the matchup for JJ Bear against M. Gurms on Monday night or on Sunday night. He scored 1 point, but that's all he needed to do. And after that, yeah, that's what got him the win. The most direct winning player at one of the last games, helped out JJ Bear and got that dub for him. And then our middle voter, our unanimous voter, almost said their name. They voted Justin Fields as the Clutch Player of the Week. Justin Fields put up 55, and these 55 points helped Pablo beat M-Tom. Basically, if Justin Fields had a normal quarterback week, M-Tom's winning this game. M-Tom's improving to 6-3, looking nice and pretty for the playoffs, but now he's kind of got himself in a dogfight, trying to stay in the playoffs towards the end of the year and hoping he can continue having good weeks. And then my vote was M. Gurms not having a backup kicker, because all he needed was to pick up 1 kicker off the waiver wire and he would have won this week. So that's pretty tough for him. So that was my Clutch Player of the Week, was M. Gurms not having a backup kicker. And then that'll do it for the awards. We'll quickly move on to our power rankings for the week. There's a good amount of movement this week, a lot of movement actually kind of in the middle of the table, not much at the top or bottom, but in the middle, a lot of stuff. So we'll get into it. We'll start number 14 this week. We have Dumais, pretty obvious choice, scored 53 to become the low score of this week. Rough week with bye weeks and him not having a backup, only having 2 running backs on his roster. So not great for him in there. Just not a great week for him. For him to have a good week, he needs Gabe Davis and Geno Smith to really go crazy. And Treylon Burks is coming back soon, though, so that should hopefully help him, give him some hope for the toilet bowl. But there we have Dumais at 14. And then coming in at number 13 for the second week in a row, we have Tommy. Tommy was one of the lower scores of the week with 95. Losing to Officer TC, who was the higher score of the week, keeping up his streak of losing to the highest score of the week. I think he's done it probably 4 or 5 times this season. So pretty unlucky for him. That's why he's 1-8 in the last place person in the league. He's trying to work deals. He got rid of Juju today, and he got rid of and he picked up Garrett Wilson, which is a good move for him for the future. Definitely think it's a good move for him. Dan picked up a pick too. So he's one step closer to in 2024 draft, and his team's looking better, but this year, not good for him. That's why he comes in at 13th. And then coming in at number 11, this is a 5-spot change from last week. Last week, he was in, or no, coming in at number 12, sorry. But last week he was in 7th. This week he's in 12th. And he actually won his matchup this week, but still moved down pretty far. This week it's Joss. The reason he won his matchup but still moved down is because he beat Dumais. So not an impressive victory, but still scored 96 points, better than a few people in this league. Kenneth Walker, his running back room looks really good. He got unlucky with Josh Reynolds' injury, but yeah, he just needs receivers. He's got a lot of good running backs on his roster. He can maybe move one for maybe a receiver and a pick, something like that. Kind of boosts his rebuild a little bit, but he's looking good. Definitely a strong squad. Build for the future. We'll have a lot better year next year, I think. Coming in at number 11, no change from last week. We have Remy. Remy, see if I can find what he did this week. Oh, yes. Remy lost on dress. He scored 101, which this was really low scoring week for the league. So 101 actually ended up being pretty good. But scored 101. He's 4-5 now, one spot out. He's ninth ranked in the league, one spot out of the playoffs. It was a tough week for him. He didn't have anyone missing because of a bye week or anything like that, which is shocking considering so many teams were on bye this week. But it was just kind of a tough week for him. Michael Carter, though, is playing really well for him, especially with Breece Hall down. So that's something to look forward to for him for the rest of the season. Maybe if he can get in the playoffs, that's a good piece for him to have. Aaron Jones injury. Aaron Jones seemed to escape pretty bad injury, so that's good for him too. So Remy coming in at number 11. And then coming in at number 10, this is a 4-spot drop from last week. This team has been dropping pretty far since the beginning of the season. It's me, Jake. I'm number 11th ranked in the league. I'm 3-6. I just lost to Big Ricky, who is one of the he started Zach Moss as number 1 running back, so it's pretty embarrassing for me to lose to that. But my team looks bad, and what started this year as looking like a top contender, maybe pretty good chance to win this, it's now going to take some luck for me to even make the playoffs. So I deserve to be down to 10th, and it's deserved. No positives to take from any of the last 4 weeks. 4-game losing streak, just not good. And then coming in, we have 2 people tied for 8th place. We'll start off with Pablo. Pablo is tied for 8th place. He won this week. He beat M-Tom. He's now 4-5, holding that last playoff spot. The person that gets the honor of losing to Andres in the first round. Justin Fields, figuring out how to run a lot and throw semi-well, has worked out pretty good for him. It looks like he might have a long-term solution there. Algier is looking pretty good too. Even with Cordero back, he still put up a lot of points because they run so much in that offense. Waddle looks really good. It hurts him to lose Dobbs for so long, but he'll probably make a move to pick up a receiver. But Terrace Marshall also, who he got, is looking better now too. James Robinson is finally finding a place in that Jets offense, so maybe they'll help him out. And yeah, Pub's team, he's kind of on the verge of the playoffs. He might make them, might not. Who knows if he wants to actually make them, but he's a team where he can make a run like Remy last year, see what happens. Coming in at number 8, we have Big Ricky. He won this week. He beat me, scored 125. Even with Zach Moss starting, he had a massive week from Devontae Adams, good week from Joe Burrow, good week, massive week from Goddard. Big Ricky's team is really highlighted by his stars, and even with Drake London and Amon-Ra kind of having down weeks, Amon-Ra's coming back from injury. Drake London's just in a bad offense that never throws. So next year, they'll both definitely improve more once Amon-Ra is a little farther off that ankle injury, and Drake London is in a much better offense, or has a better quarterback, and maybe hopefully a new coach for Kyle Pitts' sake too. But Big Ricky has a strong team. He's unlucky to be 3-6 this year. Should probably be hanging around the playoff spots, but who knows? He can make a run back into the season. Maybe clinch the last playoff spot and see what happens. And then we have two guys tied for 6th place. We'll start with Stevie J. He was our second highest scorer of the week. He beat Ethan with 162 points. Really good week for him. He had Joe Mixon, so that's why part of the reason he put up so many points. But overall, he's a pretty strong team too, with Tyreek, who is the number 1 receiver on the year, number 3 overall fantasy player. Josh Jacobs has looked really good this year. Aaron Rodgers, who put up decent points this week, but still trying to find something. And yeah, Mecole Hardman had a big week too. So Stevie J, he's sitting in 5th, probably will make the playoffs at this point, and definitely has a team good enough to make a run. And then tied with him at number 6 is M-Tom. He scored 100 points this week. Kind of had a down week, but I think he wasn't really hit that hard by bye weeks, but Keenan Allen not being able to stay healthy and Brandon Cooks holding out for a week just because he was pissed he didn't get traded didn't help him at all. But yeah, definitely just a down week for him. He's kind of in the same situation as me where his team's underperforming pretty significantly to where they should be. But for him, but he's looking better because he's holding on to the playoffs a little bit. He's number 7, but he should be good enough to get in. And then he has a good enough team where if his guys play like they should, he'll definitely be one of the more dangerous teams in the playoffs. And then coming in at number 5, we have someone who was number 4 last week. He dropped a spot. We have Josh. He won the low scoring matchup of the week this week, 84.4 to 84.1. So, yeah, that's pretty low scoring. Kirk Cousins and Austin Eckler scored half his points. DeAndre Hopkins is looking really good. Nyheim Hines should probably get more playing time in that Buffalo offense now that he has another week to work with them. But not a great week from him. But Nick Chubb on bye definitely kind of hurts the team a little bit, hurt his flexes. He's got a strong squad. Michael Williams should be back sometime soon, and he'll be a pretty dangerous team in the playoffs too. Coming in at number 4, we have rising 4 places. We have the highest score of the week. We have Jacoby. He scored 170 points this week. Derrick Henry's looking crazy. I think he's like 4 or 5 straight 100-yard games. Mahomes, a lot of points, and 68 pass attempts, 450 yards, a lot of points from him. Christian Kirk looking really good. Allen Lazard looking pretty good, scoring a lot of touchdowns. Just acquired Juju, which is definitely it's a decent acquisition for him. Probably will score more points this year than Garrett Wilson. So definitely more of a win now move. Cordero coming back too, big for him. He's got a strong squad. Definitely deserves to be talked about among the elite teams of this league. So he'll make the playoffs, and he'll be a team to beat in them. And then we get to our top 3. Nothing's changed ranking wise from last week. We'll start with M. Germs. He's one of the lower scores of the week. I guess second lowest score of the week. Scored 84.1. Bad week. He was hit pretty hard by bye weeks and then the Jamar Chase injury. So his receivers did not look great on the week, but he was down Saquon, Tony Pollard, Jonathan Taylor's out, Amari Cooper on bye, CeeDee Lamb on bye, Jamar Chase out. So pretty rough week for him. Not really much he could do. It was just kind of a week for at the beginning of the season. Probably scratch that off as a loss anyway. So not a bad week for him. Not much movement for him in the rankings just because of the amount of players on bye. So he's coming in at number 3. And then at number 2, we have Ethan, another guy in the top 3 coming off a loss. Scored a good amount, scored 121, which was pretty high for this week. For Ethan, a lot of bye weeks also. CMC, Melvin Gordon, Chase Edmonds, Russell Wilson, all on bye. Tough to have to start Davis Mills. But yeah, I don't know. He's got superstars on his team, a lot of good players, a lot of top players in their position. He's still gonna be good. He's gonna be one of the best teams in the league. Definitely one to watch. And then coming in at number one, won again, 8-1, number one team now with record, no tiebreakers or anything, is Andres. He didn't have the best week this week, only scoring 113, but had a lot of bye weeks and had to pick up James Mitchell off the bench, who scored him a touchdown, which ended up helping him a lot. But big week for him. Josh Allen injury definitely makes him a little nervous, but he's got big boy Jacoby Brissett on the bench. Definitely a weapon. But Josh Allen probably only missed 1 week max, so not bad for him. And then that rounds out our rankings. Yeah, a lot of movement in the middle, not much at the top or bottom, but it's been great. I love hosting by myself. I'm really good at it. So we'll call it a week. Like and subscribe. I'm Jake, and I'll see you next time.
3, 2, 1,